Hi, I'm Caitlin Matheson. Welcome back to another cookie tutorial. Today we're making these adorable cookies, perfect for any birthday occasion. Let's get into it. I've already gone ahead and pre-baked my vanilla cookies here. I've chosen this plaque shape just for something different, but of course you can use any cutter of your choice. I've got some Bakehouse ready to roll white fondant icing, my Chuck's cloth with corn flour inside. I always get lots of questions about this, and it just helps to put minimal amount of corn flour on your bench to make sure the fondant icing doesn't stick without it leaving marks on your fondant. I've got a clear rolling pin. You can use any rolling pin you like. I either like plastic or acrylic rolling pins for my fondant work. I've just got some water, a paint palette, some food safe paint brushes from Sweet Sticks, the Sweet Sticks activator, a little scallops cutter ready to cut our plaque. I recently purchased this amazing tool to cut balloons for the fondant cookies. It's from Melbourne Cookie Co. I've got a Sweet Sticks heart stencil to add some pattern to our cookie cutter to cut the icing. We've got an embosser from Custom Cookie Cutters with our number, our balloon string embosser from Sweetly Impressed, and our Vivid Luster Dust from Bake Boss in a nice lavender shade. To start, we're going to take our Bakehouse fondant, and I've just used my hands to knead that to make it nice and soft. And we're just going to put a tiny bit of corn flour down, ready to roll. Now that I got my fondant rolled out to the perfect thickness for the cookies, I'm going to go ahead and take my Sweet Sticks stencil. I love this stencil because it's got the little scattered hearts in all different directions. And you just want to lay that on top of your fondant, and then you want to gently roll the rolling pin over to make sure that fondant is flush and sticks. Now that you can see that the hearts are showing through the stencil, you know it's nice and tight so nothing's going to slip underneath. You want to take your activator. You need to use this product, you can't substitute it for anything else, so you have to purchase this exact one to be able to do this technique. And I'm just putting a few drops because it is very strong and sticky. And just with a flat paddle brush, I'm just going to wipe that activator all over the stencil, over those hearts to make them nice and sticky. Now I'm taking a dry brush. I like these flat blush kind of brushes from Sweet Sticks, and I dip it into any color luster dust. I like to tap off the excess in the lid of the container, and then you want to slowly dab it on top of your fondant. If you don't want the full stencil covered, then just put the sticky activator product exactly where your cookie cutter is going to go so you don't waste the product. So I've only done it on the one side here. When you've got the stencil covered, you just want to wipe off any excess luster with that brush, and then we're going to slowly peel it off, and this is the exciting part. Because I have two cookies that I'm doing right now, I'm going to go ahead and use the same stencil over again. I often get asked, do you have to wash these in between? And no, you don't, as long as you roll that fondant with the stencil so then it's touching so nothing can leak underneath, which is the awesome part about it. You don't have to keep going back and forth to the sink. As you can see, I just got a little bit of excess luster. That's just because I was doing them next to each other, but you can just cut it into each cookie panel if you like. But as you can see, we're just going to line up our cutter so we can skip any messy parts anyway. Now we can just peel away that excess, and we've got our perfect cookie bases to work with. Nice. And we've got luster dust everywhere. As usual. Now that I just have a little bit of excess luster dust on this fondant, please don't waste this. It's so important to use your excess because it definitely adds up when you're doing a whole set of cookies. Even though it's got that little bit of purple in it, I like to knead that through, and it will come out a beautiful, really soft pastel color. So I use that then for my next layer of decorating. Whilst we're going to stick our fondant icing on the cookie, just make sure to put that excess away so it doesn't dry out. You want to gently pick up your fondant icing. As you can see this beautiful shine here. Because we use the Sweet Sticks activator product, it dries pretty much instantly or within a few minutes, which is great. So I can flip that onto my hand and just add a little bit more of that activator product. I can use the same brush because it's not going to be seen. We like to save dishes here. And now stick that onto our cookie. You then just want to line it up, smooth the edges, and smooth out any of the top parts that need smoothing. And there we go, we have our cookie base ready to go, ready to add our embellishments. If you would like to simply color like just a tiny bit of fondant, you can add just a little bit of that luster dust. So I'm just dipping my fondant into that purple luster. I don't recommend it for large amounts because it is costly, but it is easier sometimes than getting out a liquid or gel food coloring if you just want a really pastel shade like I do, and I want to blend the tones beautifully together. So as you can see, I've now got this beautiful soft lavender shade. I'm just going to add a bit more corn flour on my bench before I roll this one out and use that same rolling pin to roll it nice and thin. When you are adding layers on top of your cookie, just be mindful that your base is already the right thickness for the cookie. Just keep in mind you don't want the layers of icing to become too thick because we already have enough icing on our cookie, so we don't want it to be extra sweet. So you want to keep the embellishment layers very thin if you can to make it a nicer eating experience for your guests. As you can see, I've got that nice and thin. I'm going to go ahead and use that same cutter now. Just going to cut out 2 of the same shape. I want to make this just in the corner of my cookie, so I like to line up the cutter and use that same cutter to cut just a small amount for the edge. You can then line it up just for another dimension. I'm going to go ahead and do that again for the second one. As you can see, you can use the same kind of tools that you've already got to make an amazing cookie without too much extra cost of buying extra tools. Once you're happy with the size and shape, you can go ahead and just add a little bit of sugar glue or water, or I'm just using that sticky, whoops. Don't do what I do. So I've just added a bit of the activator just because I have it here. Now I'm just going to wrap away that excess. I've got this awesome little balloon string impression stamp from Sweetly Impressed. It's so cute, I'm obsessed. I'm just gonna go in and slightly press that into the top layer. You don't have to press too hard here because you just want a soft impression. So now we have our balloon strings on, we need to make our balloon. So I'm gonna take these balloons, as I said, this is so cool because you can do 6 at once. So I've been using these a lot for corporate cookies, for companies' birthdays, because they might order a few hundred cookies and then I can easily keep going along and stamping the little balloons and cut them all at once. But I just need 2 to show you guys today. So I'm just gonna press that down just like the other stamp. And we're just gonna rub that against the bench to get a nice clean cut and gently lift out those balloons. I just like to go around their edges with my finger to smooth out any frayed bits from cutting them. Now I'm just dabbing that luster dust again, and I'm just gonna go over the balloons gently just to give them a nice sheen with the metallic dust. A little bit of luster will be stuck on the insides of those balloons, so I just like to tap them upside down to get off any excess. It's just a quick and easy way to make them metallic without having to wet them and let them dry. As you can see, we now have our gorgeous lavender metallic balloons. Now the same thing, we're just going to go ahead with a little bit of water or some of that sugar glue or activator. I'm just adding a little bit of water just at that top of that balloon string, just so they're going to stick exactly where I want them to. I've just added a little more luster into that fondant just to make it a tiny bit darker again and just knead that through. I'm just going to go the extra mile here and add a little plaque with the age on there, but of course you can leave them plain if you like because they already look amazing. I love these little scallop cutters. I actually have a whole set with all the sizes. They're great to have in your kit because you can use them for so many things. I love to make little tokens out of these with the age on them and stick them to the cookies because it just takes it to another level. We've got a 2-year-old today, so I'm just going to go in and press lightly with that number 2 embosser. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of water exactly in that corner where I'm going to add my little token. As you can see, it's super easy to make these cookies at home if you have the right tools and equipment. I hope you were able to learn something here. We've shown you multiple techniques of how you can create a custom cookie just off a very simple plaque shape. This is one of my favorite ways to make a super impressive cookie for any occasion. I've used lots of tools and equipment from local small businesses, so I'd love if you check them out and supported them as always. So I'll leave all their links and details in the description below. If you have any video requests, I'd love to hear them, so please make sure you leave me some comments because I love reading through them and seeing your creations also. Thanks so much for watching me make these gorgeous cookies. I hope you have a wonderful week and stay sweet.